Welcome to the 2024 Speaking Advocates Showcase, where advocates harness the power of storytelling to bring community to their peers and hope to develop empathy in others. Featuring
Kamand Alaghehband,
Brandye Lacy,
Darla Murphy,
Deb Wesloh,
Kaye Love,
Ramona,
Yadira Uranga.
recognizing that everyone's life is enriched by the inclusion of multiple voices. Art Spark Texas has been training disability advocates as storytellers for over 20 years. We have a great bunch of new speaking advocates for you with some wonderful stories. Sit back and enjoy the 2024 Speaking Advocates Showcase. My Journey to the Silent by Kamand Alaghehband.
Hi, my name is Kamand Alaghehband, and this is my story, My Journey to the Silent. I am so excited to do my first assignment with my freestyle writing. The homework is to listen to the night for 15 minutes. I sit down in my room and close my eyes. But my brain is going 70 miles an hour. The clock in my room shouts, tick-tock, tick-tock, as if the clock is racing in my brain. Then I tell myself, be quiet, you're supposed to listen. I hear the sound of my heater blowing on and on and on. It gives me warmth. The heat against my skin reminds me how much I miss the sun. It reminds me of a shiny day when I walked outside and the warm breeze against my skin was brushing through my soul, welcoming my body with its warmth. After 10 seconds of feeling the warmth, my brain starts talking again. What will be the temperature tomorrow? Oh, I hope it's not cold. I'm tired of cold. I reach out for my phone to check the weather. Again, I tell myself, stop. You're only supposed to listen. You're not doing your homework. Remember, Miss Boy always meditates. So I try to meditate. I close my eyes and concentrate on blocking out all the noises. I start taking deep breaths to try to silence my brain. Breathe in. I feel the air filling my lungs like a balloon. Hold. 1, 2, 3, then out. After 3 deep breaths, finally, my brain is silent, and I am able to hear the sounds of the night. I hear the cars crossing, their tires brushing against the asphalt. Tells me there are still people out on the road. After many minutes of focusing on my breath, eventually I hear the sound of nothing. The nothing feeling I reach is the most important thing in the world to me. The sound of nothing, that because of my disabilities was almost impossible to reach. This sound of nothing is a journey of longer than 15 minutes. It took longer than just 15 minutes to learn techniques to still my mind and meditate. The long journey caused me to shame and doubt myself. But why? I'm a human. I'm not perfect. I have disabilities and I have flaws. Tonight, I finally discovered the depth of silence in my brain. Reaching that silent nothingness makes me feel victorious. I am grateful for my ambitious attitude that fuels my journey to my goals. I am who I am. I'm very proud of my abilities and my disabilities. I own them and I accept myself.
A Hero Without a Cape by Brandye Lacy.
Hi everyone, my name is Brandye Lacy and this is my story, A Hero Without a Cape. Irritated, frustrated, mad as hell. Tap, tap, tap. My footsteps echo in the breezeway leading to the Office of Students with Disabilities on the campus of Sam Houston State University. Like Sophia walking through the cornfield on her way to confront Miss Seeley in the color purple, I marched with outrage to confront the head of the disabilities office. A couple hours earlier, I was summoned to his office because apparently a concerned professor told him I wasn't trying hard enough in her desktop publishing class. This was a required class for my BA in communications. The professor, Professor Reyes, said I wasn't even using all the accommodations I requested on my form. Professor Reyes, the sight of her name fills me with rage. Concerned professor, that bitch has been rude to me all year. What does she mean I'm not using all of my accommodations? I only have one. I'm supposed to take all my exams in the disabilities office with extended time. I use it all the time. The staff even greets me with smiles and greet me by name. Today, as I storm into the office, those same smiles disappear as they say the look on my face. Without a word, I'm escorted into his office. The space is small and cramped, filled with papers and magnification equipment. He has macular degeneration, an eye disease that robs you of your central vision. He's sitting in his desk chair, smiling at me. He offers me a seat in his guest chair. It's a rocking chair. I sit and I rock. Immediately, he tells me how kind the professor is. She's so right about all of her concerns. My rocking quickens. He goes on to scold me about not using my accommodation of having large print and enlarged documents. I start rocking. That's not one of my accommodations. I did not select that box. I have retinitis pigmentosa, an eye disease that usually takes your peripheral vision first. I also have lots of blind spots in my retina, which makes using large print difficult. I tend to miss things if they're not in a small enough area. I force myself to take a deep breath. I didn't ask for that, sir, I say through gritted teeth. I added it, he said triumphantly, mansplaining that he knows that's something that helps him, so he knows it'll help me. Someone once said, once you met a person with autism, you met one person with autism. The same applies here. All blind people are unique. We are the experts on our disabilities. It's why we always demand a seat at the table, nothing about us without us. Why doesn't he know that? Well, it doesn't work for me, I tell him. You're just too shy to use that one. You don't want to see other people to see you using large print, he declares, and returns to praising the professor. She's such a wonderful person, he says. Okay, time to stop this nonsense. She told me, I know you told me that you're blind, but I think you're just lazy, I retort, my voice rising beyond my inside voice. Does that sound like a wonderful thing to say? Well, if she said that, he says with a smirk and disbelief. That was it for me. I will not be walked over. I will not be called a liar. I will not let someone act like they know me better than me. I stare directly into his eyes, well, at least the general direction, and tell him, she said that. Remove any changes you made to my form without my permission. I know what's best for me, not you. We stare at each other in silence. I think you may be in shock. Shy Brandy just found her voice. Okay, he says, turning to the computer to make the change. Without another word, I get up and leave. I walk out of the office and down the sidewalk. I stride across the campus with pride, triumphant, confident, pleased. For the first time in my life, I stood up for myself. I did not acquiesce. I wore my inner strength on the outside. I am my own hero. Who needs a cape?
The Beauty of Family by Darla Murphy.
Hey everyone, my name is Darla Murphy, and this is my story. The beauty of family. When people first see me, they often compliment me on my face, tell me I'm beautiful, which makes me feel good. When I was younger, I was not comfortable with receiving compliments about my appearance or my body because I was very thin. Now I'm older. I am comfortable with who I am. When strangers meet me, they might think that I'm happy all of the time because I smile and I am very friendly. I am happy, but not all the time. The truth is, inside, I'm often lost, confused, or sad. But when I am with my family, I feel like I can be myself no matter what I'm feeling. Spending time with my family is very important to me. I cherish every moment. The women in my family give me great advice, and the men in my family are very protective of me and support me in all of my endeavors. My nephew is especially important to me. He's my buddy. We have a great bond. My relationship I have with my parents is the foundation of my life. Their support means everything to me. They have taught me valuable lessons and encouraged me to chase my dreams. I wouldn't be the person I am today without them. My dad and I spend our time laughing and having fun. He's a great role model, very confident and family oriented. He taught me how to be strong and how to have great conversations and say exactly what it is I want to say. He shows me how to relax about stuff, and that is a good, important quality to have. He may not know it, but he helps me think things through before I do them. I love that about him. My mom is always there for me and has been my biggest cheerleader. When I was younger, she stayed in the room with me through all of my surgeries. And now she is the first one there when I need her. She has taught me that I can do anything I set my mind to, and that when you work hard, you get to play hard. We have a special relationship because my mom is a no nonsense type of person. Tells me how the cow ate the cabbage, and I love her for that. A great family. They will love you no matter what. Having a great family, you can be yourself and they will love you no matter what. I feel blessed to have a family that loves me and supports each other. I know not everyone is lucky enough to have a family like mine, and I pray for those who don't. Just like when people first see me and think I'm beautiful, I see my family and think they're beautiful. They've shaped me into the person I am today, and for that, I am forever grateful.
If Walls Could Talk by Deb Wesloh.
Hello, everyone. My name is Deb Wesloh, and this is my story, If the Walls Could Talk. We've lived in our house for over 20 years, which is longer than I've ever lived anywhere. I often wonder what stories the walls of our house would share if they could talk. I think they would tell hilarious, comforting family stories. Stories of kids in their swimsuits laughing and splashing in the pool. Football games in our yard providing hours of entertainment for the boys, while our neighbor's 2 German shepherds charged back and forth along the fence, barking at our dog Sparky. Then there's the parties. So many parties, from graduation to birthdays to Spurs NBA basketball championships, filling the house with happiness. These are the stories which warm my heart. The stories I want to hear over and over as I get old. However, times in our house were not out without challenges. There were painful stories as well. In 2016, during an annual physical, my doctor noticed all my blood levels were elevated. He referred me to a hematologist who diagnosed me with a rare blood cancer called polycythemia vera. The plan was to have a follow-up appointment in a few months. However, before the appointment occurred, I was diagnosed with a second cancer, invasive ductal carcinoma, or breast cancer. As a mom, I tried to keep a brave front up for my kids, so it's unlikely that they knew how devastated I was with this dual diagnosis. Handfuls of hair that fell into the shower and surgeries which tattooed my body with scars had me crying myself to sleep. During this time, our house became my solace. I could walk around the house with my pathetic, bald head, and no one would stare at me with their pity-filled eyes. Evenings were spent in the living room fighting fatigue. Often, I'd fall asleep wrapped in a blanket on the couch watching Jeopardy with my youngest son. My favorite treat was the back patio where I spent hours playing my old Gibson guitar, a gift from my dad when I was 15. Most of my teenage years were spent alone in my room teaching myself to play. During those lonely times, I often say John Denver and Beatles were my only friends. After I was diagnosed with a cancer, playing the guitar pulled me through some of my hardest times that I ever had in my life. I often felt like my teenage self again as I sat alone by the pool trying to get my neuropathy-laden hands moving like they used to. Then COVID happened, and I was forced to keep my immune-compromised butt mostly at home. I expected to feel trapped spending all my time at the house, but instead, my world began to expand in new ways I could have never expected. One of the guest bedrooms became my studio, and soon, my days are filled with writing short stories, cancer articles, poems, lyrics, and even a novel. Sounds of music from the room became common too. I started writing songs in 2019 thanks to a veteran organization called Soldier Songs and Voices. In the shutdown, I continued to compose and started sharing my songs through Zoom. The truth is, when things finally started opening again, I was reluctant to leave the house. I did eventually venture out and leave the cocoon I had built for myself within these four walls. All those years ago, we moved to Bulverde to escape the suburban creep of San Antonio. My husband and I both grew up in a rural location and wanted our kids to have an idyllic childhood like we did. We found a house with a large lot, beautiful live oak trees, and a peaceful setting. We knew this is where we needed to be. I know nothing stays the same, but these days I find myself grieving the loss of our rural life as urban growth has made its way here. Walmart, dozens of stores, thousands of Cracker Jack box houses, strip malls, restaurants, and traffic have made our quiet area almost unrecognizable. This house has been my sanctuary and has shaped our family. However, I don't know the future for us here. We're technically empty nesters. 2 of my 3 sons are away at college, and it's unlikely that they'll ever live back at the house again. My oldest is still at home, and for the moment I take comfort from the sounds of the refrigerator door opening and shutting as he hunts for something to snack on. When they all leave home, it will be hard, but I know it's part of letting them go. Like I had to let go of the person I was before cancer. I'm a different person than I was almost 8 years ago. Interestingly, though, cancer gave me confidence that I could have never imagined having. I want time to slow down. I want to retire and hit the road playing music. I also want to share my story to let other cancer survivors know that they can move forward despite a cancer diagnosis. I want to be remembered as one who made a difference in somebody's life. My life has been a series of anthologies, and I'm preparing to start a new volume. Perhaps it's time for the house to tell another family's story too.
Solitary Confinement with Seizures in Watergate by Kaye Love.
Hi, my name is Kaye Love, and this is my story, Solitary Confinement with Seizures and Watergate. 50 years ago, I was 10. My body had recently started running around without my mind. A scary deja vu would wash over me and everything would fade to dark. I would wake up confused, feeling like my brain was scrambled, unable to see or talk, with sore muscles and bruises, feeling like a truck had run over me. No one could explain it, and without an official diagnosis, I knew some people thought I was feigning illness or seeking attention or being lazy. I remember my heart sinking as my PE teacher loudly and angrily accused me of faking to get out of running laps, which always led to dropping, flopping, and ending up sopping wet. I felt ashamed, unheard, and powerless that I couldn't get them to understand what was really going on. Now, this was before the era of special education law. At that time, there were no disability advocates to support my parents. Legally, I had no civil rights to defend anyway. None of the adults in my life seemed to know what was going on or why. The one thing they agreed on was that it was clear I was neither suitable for school nor daycare. While I understand my parents made these decisions with my safety as a priority, it saddens me that no one ever stopped to ask how I felt about missing out on school and after-school care. Back then, there was little understanding of the importance of including children and people with disabilities in discussions that affect their lives. The school district placed me in a special school with other students that they did not know what to do with. While this allowed me to learn at my own pace, it unintentionally limited my academic potential by discouraging me from exceeding expectations. I was also removed from after-school care, which meant I was left to fend for myself until my mother arrived home after long hours at the bank. Isolated and cut off from the social support of my primary school community, I was left alone to grapple with the constant, unsettling fear of what my body might do next. The following summer was the first time I had ever stayed alone all day. It was also the year of the Watergate trials, all day on all 4 channels. I was forbidden from going out by myself and was not allowed to answer the phone unless it rang 2 times and my mother hung up and called back. I lost touch with my friends from my neighborhood school and was not stable enough to go out with them anyway. My medical records say that I was having 10 to 15 seizures a day. I constantly wondered where I would wake up and what would happen if I was hurt or seriously injured. I was forced to get very creative with entertaining myself to overcome the mind-numbing boredom and deep sadness that arose from being completely alone, day in and day out, my only companion, a perplexing broadcast about plumbers in Washington. I mastered the art of hula hooping, starting at my ankles, gradually working my way up, knees, thighs, hips, waist, even my neck, before going back down. The rhythmic shoop shoop of the hoop became the soundtrack to countless hours of practice. I taught myself to play duets on the piano by myself. I became the champion of solitaire, an expert puzzle builder, and read the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I trained myself to cook hamburger patties, mac and cheese, and frozen dinners. I learned to be okay with not knowing when I was going to fall, where I was going to wake up, or what damage I would do to myself or my home environment. I was very self-sufficient, but looking back as an adult, I know this situation was far from ideal for any child, much less those with disabilities. The following winter, doctors finally diagnosed me with a seizure disorder. I was relieved to know what was going on and that there was medication that could help. While the medicine did not stop seizures completely, it did control them enough for me to return to regular school. However, I did not return to after-school programs. That summer, while Watergate scandal, shrouded in secrecy, dominated the news cycle on every channel, I was facing a hidden crisis of my own: daycare discrimination. Being left at home alone at 10 years old experiencing 10 to 15 seizures a day was a terrifying and potentially life-threatening situation. 5 decades have passed since then, and the Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA, has ensured equal access for 3 decades. I naively assumed that such discrimination wouldn't happen today. Yet, I was stunned to discover that daycare facilities are still exempt from special education laws. This raises a critical question. Are there still kids with disabilities living through what I did all those years ago? Did you know that in America today, many daycare facilities still do not serve children who have disabilities? Parents are still forced to choose between having a job and leaving their child with disabilities home alone to fend for themselves. Please support the efforts of the Texas Council of Developmental Disabilities to push for changes to daycare regulations so that all children in Texas can be safe while their parents are at work.
Night Noise Part 1 and Part 2 by Ramona Spear.
Hi there, I'm Ramona. I'm here with Night Noise, Part 1 and Part 2. Part 1, I press play on a short YouTube video, not expecting much. The talking head exhorts me to stop my internal tapes. Yes, I agree. I drive myself crazy trying to find a cure for my disease. The quest is quixotic, but it's a habit. In my own way, I am disciplined, flogging myself with endless information about healing and endless self-recrimination for the sin of insanity. I listen and watch. The anonymous YouTuber tells me to stop asking myself why I am flawed. Replace the internal brain tape with asking, what am I experiencing? What am I feeling? Seems futile, fruitless, but I give it a try. I experience a sensation of unusual stillness inside. I catch myself whirling back into chaos and switch back to the stillness. What am I experiencing? Peace. I doubt still that I'll give up my quest. Part 2. I lie on my bed, hoping for peace tonight. I press play on another YouTube video for some relaxing yoga nidra. As you relax into the earth or your mattress, a soothing voice intones. Bang! I hear instead. But do I really hear it? The eternal question for those of us who hallucinate. I run through a checklist of potential scenarios. Should I check Facebook or next door to see if the neighbors heard it? Should I get up and see if the noise was an intruder? If so, where's my pepper spray? I remind myself, as I did last night, that I hear bangs every night. And yet here I am once again, me with no weapon. It seems like a step in the wrong direction to employ weapons against what may be imaginary. No matter how much medicine I take, I remain Don Quixote, unable to distinguish between a windmill and a giant.
Uno and Deja by Yadira Uranga.
Hi, I'm Yadira Uranga, and this is my story. Uno and Deja. Have you ever wondered if a person has to be completely blind when getting a guide dog? I wondered about this myself before asking the guide dog school instructor. The answer is no. didn't have to be completely blind to get a guide dog. I just had to have enough orientation and mobility skills and know how to travel independently to and from my routes. Before going to any of the guide dog schools, I had to go through an application process and an interview with a field instructor where I could demonstrate the routes that I usually take. Then, of course, the waiting time. We can't forget about the waiting that can last up to 8 months or more, depending on the guide dog school. I remember when I was applying for my first guide dog, I was fearful of what my family would say. My best friend was also applying for her guide dog alongside me, which made me feel more at ease. I thought to myself, if she can be brave enough to apply for her guide dog, then I can be brave also. I got to go to New York to get trained with my match. The first few days were more of an orientation to the building and the program. Then we started the Juno Walk training. I got the experience of holding on to the harness while the instructor held on the other end, pretending to be a guide dog. It was both scary and exciting. I wondered what my first guide dog would look like. I was excited to receive her, but also anxious about the outcome. I finally met her during Dog Day. At 25 years old, I received my first beautiful guide dog named Uno. She is so beautiful, I thought to myself. What if I struggle to learn how to work with her or to take care of her? However, our first time training together was amazing. I was in awe of her and how well we worked together as a team. Uno was a beautiful black Labrador who was very vocal about everything. She was raised in Michigan and she loved the snow. She gave me the ability to continue college. Petting Uno during a test was the best, although sometimes she would get bored and start whimpering. So my friend would take her outside so I could finish my test. With Uno by my side, I was able to graduate from college with an associate's degree in music. She even proudly guided me through the crowd to get my diploma at the graduation ceremony. Retiring Uno was the hardest thing I have ever done, and giving her back to the training school was even harder. I cried myself to sleep for her every night. I felt very empty because she was my world. Uno lived for 15 years. I will always remember all of the wonderful times that we spent together. I missed her for a long time and wondered if I would be able to accept another guide dog in my life. It took me forever to be ready to apply for my second guide dog. But this time, I had a community supporting me and encouraging me throughout the process. The application process and interview were very similar to the first time, even though I got her from a different guide dog school. My second dog day was as amazing as the first. The instructor brought her to my dorm room, introduced us, and gave me some information about her and her family. At 39 years old, I received my second beautiful guide dog named Deja. She was raised in Austin, Texas, but we trained in Oregon. It was hard bonding with Deja at the beginning because I was so used to working with Uno. The feeling that I had when working with Uno was so different than when I was working with Deja, and I missed my Uno so much. Finally, I fell in love with her and found out that Deja was perfect for me. We have been a guide dog team for 5 years, and I hope for many more years to come. Deja loves playing with her bones and teasing me with them so that I can try and take them away from her. She has been allowed to perform with me in theater productions and even in improvised shows. She was included in Tilt's last production, Pen. Her name was Bones. She was also included in an improvised show, Pocket Monster, where she was Dogomon, fighting battles alongside my character. Deja and I also love to dance. Seeing how music excites her always brightens up my day. Having a guide dog has been the biggest highlight of my life. My life became better when I stopped listening to all of the negative voices that would tell me that a guide dog was not for me. That I had enough eyesight to manage without a guide dog. I am glad I went beyond those voices and went for it. I don't regret it at all. My guide dogs gave me the confidence to continue living life as positively as possible. They brought the best version out of me, and I am so grateful. I hope that everyone who would benefit from having a guide dog could get one, but that is only possible if people donate to the guide dog schools. Both of my guide dogs are my world. My sweet angel Uno and my sweet guide dog Deja.
Audience response.
Yeah, absolutely. This was wonderful. You're all brave storytellers.
Yes, they're amazing. And I agree with John. Y'all were amazing storytellers, and it was such a blessing to get to work with y'all. So thank y'all for being so welcoming. I had so much fun.
Thank you for watching. Thank you to our volunteers, Maya, Hadley, and Lila, who scribed for us and worked with the storytellers on their final stories. Thanks to Jerry for supporting us all through this process and Celia for her tech support today. To our storytellers, we say thank you for your enthusiasm and hard work. We hope you are as proud of this showcase as we are, and please keep writing. We can't wait to hear more of your stories. If you enjoyed this glimpse into the world of our storytellers, all of the stories you heard today will be available on Season 3 of our podcast, True Tales by Disability Advocates, later this year, available on our website and all major podcast platforms. If you heard your life reflected in their stories, we'd love to hear from you. Please share this video and subscribe to our channel. This video was edited and mixed by Miss Boy. It was produced by ArtSpark Texas Speaking Advocates Program and True Tales by Disability Advocates Podcast.